What's going on? What's going on, people? Welcome back to another episode of What the Game Means to Me, our Bell and Brown Hour. I got my co-host, of course, today with me again, Thaddeus Bell. How are you doing today, sir?
What's good? What's good? Another day, another episode. Let's
Of
get it.
course, definitely ready to get into it. As you guys can see, new layout. We're gonna do things a little bit differently. Starting New Year's, the new year, new us, got new layouts. We're gonna start putting some guys that we want to talk about throughout the week as our little overlay. So today we got Philip and Drew. Of course, both of them. Well, one supposedly supposed to retire, and then one announced it today. So we got these guys. I guess paying our respects to them as our overlay. But like I said, fully loaded episode. Gonna get into all the divisional round games that happened this past weekend. Probably talk a few news bits that's coming in or basically going to the games this upcoming weekend as well. Got a few new segments we're going to introduce today as well, and then of course pay our respects, like I said, to Philip and Drew. So first things first, we're going to start off with the Bills and Titans. Just the game, our overall thoughts. Everything that happened. So what did you think about this matchup, Dad?
Bills and Ravens. Got to correct you on that one, but
Yeah, my fault. I
you
don't know what
know,
I just said.
kind of what I expected. I expected Lamar to play better, but I expected the Bills to just overwhelm them over time. I expected to be low scoring too, because these are two teams known for their defense as well as their offense at times.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing too much of a surprise. A little bit disappointing on Lamar. A really bad interception.
Mm-hmm.
That time interception that changed the game. But Josh Allen played well. He made the plays he needed to. He kind of understood how the game was going to go. It wasn't one of those games where he was going to throw for 350, 4 touchdowns. Like, he was just going to have to control the ball, make smart decisions, and just execute the game plan. And they controlled the ball better. They took care of the ball better than the Ravens, and that's why they came out on top.
Yeah, pretty much you put it perfectly. Yeah, that the interception is really just kind of just blew the game wide open because like it was a defensive bout pretty much the whole entire game. With the Bills, they only scored 10 points offensively, and they been on a tear, putting up 30 points, for as long as we can remember. So yeah, it was a defensive bout, and unfortunately, red zone, a very important touchdown would have tied up the game. He just didn't see. Forgot his name, last name I think is Johnson, but floated.
Taron Johnson.
Yeah, Taron Johnson. Yep, floated back, caught the interception, and took it to the house. Like I think the announcer said it that throwing a pick is one thing, but you got to get him to the ground. After that, pretty much you can't let him. Just take it to the house like that. So unfortunately, it was an untimely interception. Then next drive, of course, we saw him get knocked out of the game. Concussion protocol and everything. So that pretty much put a damper on any hopes of the Ravens coming back in this one. So yeah, I guess shout out to the Bill. I know you're gonna have something to say about them later on. But kudos to them for pulling it out. They've had a great season. They can continue on having a great season. I guess this upcoming week when they match up with the defending Super Bowl champs. So let me see. Next, of course, we got Packers and the Rams. Another game I think we both kind of figured would go the way it did, with some of their stars being pretty much ailed by injury, and Aaron Donald and Jared Goff. So what do you think about this one, Thad? And how do I guess you think the Packers fare in this upcoming week's matchup?
For me, it wasn't a bad game. The Rams didn't play particularly terrible, bad, or anything. I just feel like Aaron Donald not being 100% had a bigger impact than people will notice. Like, your ribs as a D lineman, if you can't really, extend all that stuff, getting hit there, not being 100% just does a lot to his game.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can tell, he wasn't an impact. And I think that's really the reason he was kind of tearing up on the sideline. I don't think it was because they lost. It was because they lost. He knows how hard it is to get back. And it was because he couldn't be his best for the team. Like, he's the best player on the team. And he couldn't show up how he wanted to, so that bothered him. But it wasn't a bad game. Jared Goff didn't even play bad. Speaking of injured people, he was like 21 to 27. It was more dunkish at times, but he did what he had to do. Didn't turn over the ball. But the Packers, they played well. They're pretty balanced to me. I like their little three-headed monster they had. They had Jones, Williams, and then the rookie AJ Dillon.
Mm-hmm.
Running back by committee. They're pretty dangerous when they're like that. I don't know if the elements limited them or the Rams defense being well, but it wasn't. I was surprised they didn't put up a little more points because how hot they were. But it was a good game. Not too much to talk about. Not too many big mistakes. The Packers just played a little bit better.
Yeah.
And Aaron Donald, I just feel like if Aaron Donald was 100% healthy, the game might have changed. He might have, caused a sack on third down that caused them to punt when they end up getting points, or a forced fumble, something. A big play to impact the game, and he wasn't able to do that. So,
exactly.
That didn't help.
Yeah, exactly like you just said. Because, typically teams, they already got a game plan going in. They already, double team, sometimes even having triple teamed, and sometimes he can still make an impact. But, with the hurting Aaron Donald and being double teamed, like you said, taking some rib shots, not being able to affect the quarterback like he normally would be able to. Definitely, like you said, just even though Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback, he's pretty mobile. He can, extend plays, with the best of them. Him, I guess Aaron Donald, obviously we can see in this picture, him not being able to get to the quarterback and put some type of pressure on him allowed him to kind of do the things that he, we're used to seeing Aaron Rodgers do, even with the elements in the snow. Like I said, he was able to play a few times. I know with one key throw, I believe was when he found, was it Robert
Turning.
Yeah. I'll be having trouble saying his last name sometimes. Yeah. And then I think another time to Lazard as well. Wide open touchdown. I think exactly. It was kind of cooking up all game, but yeah, like stuff like that, if Aaron was healthy, he probably would have been able to get in his face, and some of those plays may not have happened. So like you said, I already knew more than likely, the Packers are going to come out on top. I think it was, like you said, it was a good game, pretty balanced game, and winning by 2 TDs in a playoff game and continuing to roll on. I think they're setting prime to get a little bit of revenge this upcoming week against the Bucks, because we know this early in the season they pretty much handled them handily. So I think it's going to be a good matchup between those two teams for the NFC title to go to the Super Bowl. Then next we're going to hit on the Chiefs and Browns. A lot more entertaining than I think a lot of people would have gave credit for. I think this is probably my favorite game of the week, but I'll let you, of course, let you start first and give your thoughts overall on the game and the Chiefs overall, going into next week.
Good game. Well, first of all, I'm going to start with next week. Actually, it doesn't matter. They won this week, but if they don't have Patrick Mahomes, there's nothing to really talk about. The Bills are going to the Super Bowl. I don't think there's any way. But to talk about the game, it was a surprising game, like you said. I expected the Chiefs to win by more than they did, win more handily. But the Browns show they can compete. That they'll be a team to watch for. If Baker plays better, they get Odell back, they get some help. They can be a team to watch out for. But it was a decent game. The Browns, they had a few plays that didn't go their way to change the game, that could have had the game even be closer and would have been scary with Mahomes being hurt. I know we're gonna talk about the fumble later, but it was I don't know. This game was a little surprising to me. The Browns they didn't play bad. I don't think the moment was too big for them. I think that win against Pittsburgh did a little something for them, and they hung around. Like, it wasn't a blowout. Even with Mahomes being in, they didn't just, besides the first drive and a couple other drives, they didn't just move the ball down the field at will. Like, they had to struggle a little bit at times. And Baker didn't play that bad. He could have played a little better, but this game was just interesting to me. It's kind of hard to talk about because I think I would have won a completely different way if Mahomes was there. They would have put away eventually, but because he wasn't, it was a close game, and Andy Reid made a gutsy call to seal the game.
Yeah.
And out of all people, like, you could see him calling that on fourth down with Mahomes, but not Chad Henne rolling out like to the right, and he had to make the throw, which he did.
Yeah,
which was pretty clutch because he had to make up for that pick. Exactly. I don't know what that was. I remember saying something about Mahomes throwing that pass to Tyreek, calling that a punt in the Super Bowl. That was a punt. Carl Joseph literally just could have fair catch. Yeah,
exactly. It was like, it literally was nobody in. Like,
I saw he was trying to throw too.
Yeah, exactly, but it wasn't even close. Yeah, exactly what you just said. So
good. Interesting to see what's going to happen next week. But it was an interesting game for sure. Had me watching to the very end because I didn't expect this at all.
Yeah.
What's your take on it?
Yeah, like you say, I mean, at a point, it was what, 16 or 19-3, something like that. And of course that was right around, I think the Browns end up, driving down the field scoring a TD, making
And then
19-10. Yep, and then that's pretty much the drive. That next drive when Mahomes went out with the concussion. So, like you said, that's pretty much where the game honestly started. Because again, Browns got the ball back, or I think they was able to get a field goal out of the drive, but Browns got the ball back, scored another touchdown. Which I wouldn't expect. I thought the Chiefs maybe was gonna rally. Their defense is gonna rally up a little bit. They sometimes can be had, but I thought that was gonna rally up. Their big guys was gonna make plays. But like I said, Browns took advantage, went down the field, scored again, 17-22. I know one of the big things. I know Jeff. We've had a chance to talk to him before on here, but the biggest thing that he had to say about it was, why punt? It took you 20 something years to get back to the playoffs. You just destroyed Pittsburgh. You took advantage at the times when Mahomes was out. When are you going to get back? You never know when you're going to get back to this spot because every single year is different. So he was like, why would they? I think it was, I don't know how many minutes left it was. I think it was 4 or 5 minutes left, basically before they got the ball back, and Chad Henne, made those 2 gutsy plays. He's like, why would you punt the ball when, it's 4th down? I think it was still 4th and short. They have a chance to basically. I honestly think if they would have scored on that drive, they probably would be in the AFC Championship game. So he was like, why would you punt it and just give up that chance when you've been waiting so long? As a city, as a fan base, everything that y'all have gone through to even get to that point of the year, and you say gave the ball right back, even though it is, it's Chad Henne, it's still Andy Reid calling the plays. You just can't, give up that type of situation, that type of scenario, and just punt it away. And I guess trust your defense and trusting the defense that was hobbled. Denzel Ward that just came back, he wasn't really 100%. Myles Garrett wasn't 100%. Like we were talking about Aaron Donald, he wasn't really able to affect the quarterback that much.
Yeah, he was. Hold on, real quick to cut you off. I don't mean to cut you off, but I saw him like on some third down. No, not third downs. On first and second downs, he was on the sideline.
Kneeling down and stuff. I forgot what his injury was. Yeah, but he was hobbled and injured as well. He had a few impact plays with Chad Henne was in the game, but when Patrick Mahomes was in, he really couldn't do too much. So, just like so that type of situation, like you said, it comes down to. I mean, they just got to take a chance. I would, bet it against my offense picking up that 4th down versus, trusting my defense to stop even though it's Patrick Mahomes not heading them, stopping a Chiefs offense that has so many weapons. Like all you really got to do is get them the ball in space and they can make plays. So, like I said, it just, I guess for Browns fans and the organization kind of sucked to see them, and just a casual fan kind of watching the game, it kind of sucked to see them not take that chance. But, I guess, you live and you learn, and that's the result that you get at the end of the day when you don't take chances after not being in playoffs for so long. But it's neither here or there. And I know we'll talk a little bit later about Patrick Mahomes and then the game this upcoming week. But the last divisional game we'll hit on, of course, is the Bucs and Saints. Another good one against 2 great legends. Heading those teams at quarterback. So what did you think of this game, and what do you, I guess, give the Bucs shot, or what do you think the Bucs would do against the Packers this upcoming week? What kind of shot do you give them to make it to the championship or Super Bowl rather?
I'm gonna go backwards again. I'm gonna start with that game. I feel like it's gonna. I don't know, man. I really don't. I feel like the Packers are gonna get revenge for the Week 6 game, but the Bucs, Tom Brady's more motivated than ever to prove everybody wrong, to prove more of like the Shaq and Kobe thing. I can win without the other guy. I really don't know. It's going to be a good game. I think this one could go to OT. I think the Bucs are playing well. Their defense is playing well. They're just clicking at the right time, and it'll be an interesting game. But to talk about this one, it was an interesting game. I was correct in my pick. I picked the Bucs to win. I didn't see Tom Brady getting swept by another Hall of Fame, foe, legendary quarterback. It went out very bad, but it was. I just saw this coming. I saw the Bucs getting revenge. They played well. It wasn't their regular type game. They were very balanced with Rojo and Fournette each going for 60 yards on like 12 carries, and their leading receiver being Cameron Brate and Leonard Fournette was just the surprising part. But they did what they had to do. Like Lattimore and Jack Rabbit took care of AB and Mike Evans. And then they put the third guy on Godwin,
Mm-hmm.
and they did what they had to do. Tom Brady took who was open. Brady was feasting on the linebackers, and the linebackers couldn't guard Fournette either, even on the little angle route or whatever he ran, the choice route for the touchdown. But, the Bucs played well. They did what they had to do. They didn't turn the ball over. They executed, and they took the ball away from the Saints. That's really the difference maker. They made Drew Brees look real pedestrian. They played a lot of cover zero man, like under, you know what I mean? Like cover two man.
Yeah.
With the guys playing underneath for the most part to make him push the ball down the field, and he didn't. But good game plan by Todd Bowles. Great game by Devin White. He would be my. I know we're gonna do the segment later, but he would be my player of the week, player of the game, pretty much, because he was everywhere. Forced fumbles, picks, everything.
Yeah.
But shout out to the Bucs. They played their game. They shut down Drew Brees, shut down Michael Thomas, slant boy, and they did what they had to do, and they're moving on.
Yeah. Like you just said, I went the other way, of course. I know we did our picks, the other weeks, but you went Bucs. I went with the Saints, and I knew it was going to be a tall task for them to sweep them. It's hard when it's pretty much not impossible, but it's not always in your favor when you're playing a team 3 times and trying to go for a sweep. So it's just hard being a team 3 times in one season, especially in division. They probably obviously would have you figure out by then. Can figure out where your weaknesses are, and like you just said, they was feasting on the linebackers. Linebackers for the Saints they're really good. I know they got Quan Alexander, by trade deadline. He's probably their best cover linebacker. But other than that, like Demario Davis, great run stopper, great leader, but like you said, may struggles at times, especially having to guard maybe a speedy back or a speedy tight end. So like you said, he feasted on the linebackers. He took what they gave him, and they was able to come out on top with the win. Unfortunately, like you said, on the other side with Drew Brees, you never want to see a legend like that go out on 3 picks. I know one of the picks he tried to give his team a chance down the stretch, trying to throw it to Jared Cook, and unfortunately he wasn't able to corral it in. Went off his shoulder pad, and they took it the other way for a few yards. But like I said, the beginning of the game, I don't know, like it was, really back and forth. Both sides was playing a good game. Like you said, the Bucs defense stepped up tremendously. They shut down Michael Thomas, as you can see. He had pretty much zeros across the stat line. Kamara was held pretty much to nothing, according to typically what he normally would do. And like I said, Drew Brees throwing 3 picks pretty much hurt them, because every single time he threw a pick is when the Bucs capitalized and scored points. I think 2 of them being a touchdown and 1 a field goal. But that's pretty much 17 points right there out of the 30 that they scored. It's going to be hard for any team to overcome that. 3 takeaways, and then on the defensive side, not getting any type of takeaways back. Like you said, they took care of the ball, 0 turnovers. Brady took what they was giving them. He said he shut down the outside weapons. He'll go running back. He'll go tight end. There's pretty much weapons all over the field for them. So. Like I said, good game by them. Unfortunately, you don't want to see Drew go out the way he did, but I think it's time, which we'll be talking about in a second. And Tom Brady moves on. He faced Aaron Rodgers, another decorated quarterback that's going to probably go down, as one of the greatest as well. And it's going to be a great matchup this upcoming week. So really excited to see this one. And that one probably will be the game of the week, depending on what's going on.
They're both good games, though.
Yeah, exactly. They're definitely both good games. Probably going to be high scoring games on both sides as well, too. So. Says it's going to come down to whichever defense is able to make a stop, and a key stop at that. So, but like I said, we just got done talking about these two. Probably last time they'll meet. It's kind of pending, but most people are saying Brees is going to wrap it up. Hang up the cleats. So, of course, like I said, today we're kind of dedicating the episode a little bit to Phillip and Drew, 2 legend quarterbacks that retiring. So, we'll kind of say our congratulations. You did it, my friend. Got out of there not too injured. I know for Drew, a little different, because he's just coming off of damn near half a broken body a few weeks ago. So congrats, Drew and Phillip, for decorated career. And I'll let you start first, Thad. Kind of give me your thoughts on these 2 guys, and then we'll kind of go into whether we think they're first ballot Hall of Famers or not. I think the unanimous answer probably will be yes, but we'll pay our respects and dues. So I'll let you go first.
For both of them, good careers, great careers. One better than the other, but long, lengthy careers. I can't recall what year Drew came out. 2002,
2003, two. It
three.
might be two. It might have been two.
Yeah, and Philip coming out in 2004 with Eli and Big Ben. Both great careers, man. Franchise QBs. One's career was a little different than the other starting out, but and it's crazy that Philip Rivers. I wasn't even thinking about this. He's the guy that replaced Drew Brees, so it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
it's a little ironic, but uh, great careers, nothing to be upset with. Philip, he was a competitor, one of the best probably the best trash talking QB
Yeah.
in NFL history. I hope I'm not counting anybody out, but from what I can
Yeah.
recall, like he got in everybody's head, but he didn't mean any harm. Great quarterback, great competitor. Drew has almost every record in the book with a Super Bowl win over Peyton. So, it's a great career. Nothing to be upset with. They were both doubted at times, and they both, pulled through. I wish Phillip would have got a ring. I know the Chargers were trying to get him one, but he's a warrior, man. And his only AFC Championship game he played with no ACL. So, shout out to him. He's a true definition of a leader. And I know you said we'll talk about the Hall of Fame part later, but yeah, shout out to them. Just great careers.
Yeah.
And I hope they enjoy it. I know they're going in healthy. For both of them, it was kind of time, though. Like, you'd see their bodies breaking down on them. So glad they made the smart decision not to go any far, not to do any more, not to do any damage to their career, So, yeah, shout out to them.
Yeah. I'll start, of course, with Drew first. I watched the other guys on Off the Ball Network. I don't know if they're tuned in right now, but I watched them last night. And they kind of did, similar thing. And Mo, from Mo Up in Flames, he pretty much said kind of like what you just said, especially for Drew Brees. We don't want to see him go out the way he did, but sometimes that's just how it has to be. You don't always have the storybook ending. Riding off in the horse in the sunset with a championship, like maybe a Peyton Manning or some other guys, Michael Strahan. So, unfortunately, we didn't want to see him going out on 3 picks. But like you just said, for both these guys, it was kind of time. We can kind of see it in their games. Became a little bit more pedestrian. Their arm strength wasn't, fully there. They wasn't able to get the ball to certain receivers in tight windows like normal. In the prime of their careers. We said the other week with Phillip, his attempt at a Hail Mary didn't even reach the 5-yard line. And we said we drew 3 interceptions, unfortunately. So like you just said, it both had decorated careers. Both of them started out a little bit different. And I wanted to correct both of us actually. Drew came out in 2001, spent his first 5 years with San Diego. And then of course, and then of course the rest with Sean Payton in New Orleans. But great careers by both guys. We'll see what Jeff said. I think there's a chance Drew plays one more. And that, like I said, I think so as well. And I know I watched you guys last night, Jeff. And I'm hoping not. Obviously, one, because I'm a Falcons guy. He's been terrorizing us the last few years. But I don't know. Like you said, you don't want to see him go out the way he did. I feel like he might not want to go out the way he did as well. But I don't know. It's kind of like 50-50 ball with me right now. Maybe with him as well. I know he said even at the beginning of this year, he might wrap it up. It's probably his last one. I know he wants to do more time with the kids. Was he 40 now? 41? Not 40 now. He's 40. Yeah, like 41. Yeah. So I don't know. But it would be interesting to see him come back for one more chance, one more round. So that
I don't think he can hold up for another season. His arm, I don't think his arm or his body can hold up. Like,
I feel like that.
Going to key in on that check down on the choice route to Alvin Kamara and the slants to Emmanuel Sanders and Michael Thomas all game. Like, at some point, he's going to have to push the ball at least past 15 yards, and I don't think he can do that being accurate with enough velocity to get it.
Yeah. With me, honestly, if I'm sustaining broken ribs and they're continuing to find broken ribs like within that week and a half, for me, I would wrap it up. But I know he's a competitor. He's faced this type of adversity all his life. He came off a shoulder injury. And that's why I guess he went to New Orleans in a free agent deal. Instead, I guess San Diego taking that chance on him and re-signing him again. But like I said, he's dealt with adversity all his life, even being an undersized quarterback. I know that was one thing the guys hit on a lot last night as well. Kind of the poster child for 6 feet or just that 6 feet, barely 6 feet, under 6 feet quarterbacks to kind of succeed and paved that path for them. We see Russell Wilson now, Kyler Murray, guys like that. So with with him, it's great to see him, I guess, change the way that scouters and coaches and all these other people think about quarterbacks. They may not be the typical 6'3", 6'5", 230 or whatever the case may be. But yeah, like at this point, I think it's maybe time to wrap it up. I know we're about to get into like the Hall of Fame talk. He threw for almost 800 and 500 yards. I think he finished with 80,358. Was it two? Like you just said, that's pretty much every stat in the book. I got it pulled up right here, but I know he also kind of set the pace for completion percentages for quarterbacks as well. He's always in that 70 range, and kind of make other quarterbacks look kind of pedestrian, being in that 65 to 67, which a lot of people would consider to be extremely good.
Yeah, so, that's good. That's decent.
Yeah, exactly. So it's an incredible career. Like I said, we'll probably get into. Like I said, I'm about to ask the question. I'll pose it to you first, of course. Is he a first ballot Hall of Famer? Then we'll get into Phillip Rivers next.
Drew Brees, yes, 100%.
Yeah,
maybe he might be second. So he might get in the second year, but first ballot, I'm like 90% sure.
Yeah, I feel like the only thing that is going to be stacked against him is the people, of course, that kind of consider rings more. Than what was you going to say?
I was saying the people. It might depend on the people that's in, like the players that's in waiting to get in. I don't know. I don't know who just retired last year. This first ballot, they might not get in. So I mean, we'll see. But I think he'll be first ballot. But Phillip Rivers will be a more interesting discussion.
Yeah, for sure. Because like you just said, with Brees finishes with one. If he is done, finishes with one ring. Unfortunately, with the Miracle of Minnesota kind of killed it. Last year as well.
The same. I mean, the Rams game too.
Yep, the Rams game as well. So it was 3 years in a row. He pretty much everyone kind of, and those are probably in my opinion. I think the Rams year was probably the best Saints team I've seen. So I thought for sure like they was going to get to the Super Bowl if not win it. But yeah, kind of being let down those 3 years, and all 3 years back to back. It's unfortunate for sure, but Jeff just said, crazy dudes were in the same meeting room. That is pretty crazy to think about. Like that, I just said, Phillip was the replacement, and two guys that gutsy. Like you said, one kind of comes in and does his business. The other guy, is a trash talker, but great at his job. So for me as well, I think not Phillip. Sorry, I think Drew is the first ballot Hall of Famer. Like I said, finishes with 80,358 yards. Was it almost 1,400? TD? No, not 1,400. My fault. 571 TDs. 243 interceptions. Yeah, just crazy overall. Career. Like you said, pretty much owns every stat. But we'll move on to Phillip. I guess I'll talk a little bit about him as well. Decorated career in San Diego. Nice 1 year in Indy. I for sure thought he may play one more. I kind of wanted him to play one more. The whole year I was saying they're gonna go as far as he takes them, and he took them to a playoff game, obviously against the Bills, and one I kept saying I feel like they should have won, should have been able to squeak out some way somehow.
Yeah, that clock management was terrible.
Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah, the clock management at the end, the play calling kind of threw that wrench out the window. But of course with him, spent pretty much all his years besides this last one with San Diego and then Los Angeles Los Angeles Chargers for 3 years or 4 years rather. With him, he if he's done for sure, he finishes with where's it at? Oh, my fault. There it goes. He finishes with 63,440 yards, 421 touchdowns, 209 interceptions. So pretty lofty, pretty big numbers as well. But what do you think? First round ballot first time Hall of Famer or first ballot Hall of Famer, or what do you think? Waits 3 years.
This is a tough one for me. I don't want to sound disrespectful. I don't know. It's gonna come off as that. But with the Hall of, I don't know if I think he'll get in, but I don't think he's a first, second, third year. Like I think he's gonna have to wait some time. One of those people. His stats are pretty good. He had a long career, but was there a point in his career where he was ever a top 3 quarterback or top 4, like during his prime. Really, I don't know. I would have to look back, but
Yeah, he's always really played where there's other great quarterbacks.
Yeah, like that. I think that matters to me. Like during your time, in your generation, you have to be a Hall of Famer. Not you don't have to be, but you have to be one of the top guys for the most. But it's hard. He came in with Eli. His numbers are better than Eli because I know Eli led the league in interceptions for like 3 years at a point in time, but he has 2 Super Bowl rings over Brady. So it's like, because I think Eli's going to have to wait some time, but he's eventually going to get in because of the name and those rings. But I feel like Phillip was a better quarterback, so he has to get in. But I wouldn't be surprised if he had to wait some time. Like I'm talking about like 5-6 years plus if he had to.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if I feel like this is a controversial like decision, but he might not get in at all, but I think he will, but he's going to have to wait sometime. Like I said, 5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
But
It would be unfortunate if he didn't get in at all. I kind of, before I even go into, I want to ask you, are you kind of, which I already kind of know the answer, but for the others listening, are you one of the guys that kind of takes rings into consideration or kind of puts that as a mark against, guys that, are up for the ballot to get into the Hall of Fame or not? I guess really across any sport, honestly. I know we're talking about football. But
rings matter, but yeah, it's in football, it's a team sport. So you can be, I don't know, you could be Tom Brady, but if you're not surrounded by the right people, the right coaching staff, the right, personnel, stuff like that, you might not get those rings. So I think a lot of that matters. So it can't be too big of like, there's some players that are first ballot Hall of Famers that would never get a ring, but at the quarterback position, that matters a little more. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think. I was about to say. Yeah, with the quarterback position, I think it's unfortunate that I think it matters a lot more than maybe other positions.
Because would you take Phillip over Eli as a quarterback?
As a quarterback, I think I would take Phillip over Eli. Not like I said, just obviously not putting their careers side by side. I'm just talking like you just said, like quarterback, comparison, like built just based off of attitude, strength, like winning. Like if I put Phillip Rivers in New York's offense that faced those 2 Patriot teams in the Super Bowl, I honestly think they still win those Super Bowls. In my opinion, I don't think too much change. Eli made some gutsy plays and had some gutsy throws, but he also had help from the guys that was surrounded around him, and he had great defenses. And I think for most of, I think not the first half, but most of the beginning part, I think of Phillip Rivers' career, I don't think he had the greatest defenses. I think the best chance he had at a Super Bowl, I don't remember which year it was, but it was obviously the year he faced the Pats in the AFC Championship.
Oh yeah, that was the Jaguars had lost to them in the other round before, so that was 2007.
Yeah. So I think, like I said, I think I would take Phillip as a quarterback over Eli. Like I said, not even comparing the careers and everything. But like I said, if I put Phillip in that same offense, I think they still come out with those Super Bowls, honestly. Like I don't think there's too much of a difference. You said Eli led the league in interceptions at a point for 3 straight years. And I think end up being 500 with touchdowns and interceptions. Like they're even from the stat line. So if I think, obviously I asked you the question about, do rings matter a lot? Or should it be a mark against the guys being considered to go into Hall of Fame? I don't think it should be a mark. I just think it's pluses. Like, for Eli, that's pluses for him to be considered to, even though he wouldn't be a first ballot Hall of Fame, but those are pluses for him to be considered to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. For Phillip, I don't think it should be a mark against him. I think, like I said, just for guys overall, I think it's just additives, like a plus. It shouldn't be marked against them. It shouldn't be a minus against their, the career and everything. Because like you just said, it's a team sport. And Phillip has the numbers. He has. I should have put it up too, but I saw graphic earlier, pretty much of kind of where he stands and where he ranks. In quarterback rankings and everything. In the major stats, and he's damn near top 10 in everything. So to me, all the quarterbacks out of all how many years the NFL has been in existence, like to be top 10 in pretty much every category as a quarterback, I think that definitely I don't, if not first ballot, somewhere in maybe third, fourth, ballot consideration. But like I said, I guess to answer our question, not first round, but he definitely deserves to get in, especially if guys like Eli Manning are being considered as well.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, but overall, Yeah, it's going to be tough, but Drew has probably a bigger nod at probably a first round ballot than Phillip. But both guys definitely deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, no doubt. But congrats to you guys again. Decorated careers, meant a lot to you guys as organizations, and hopefully good luck to whatever you're doing in the upcoming years. I know Drew Brees probably might go into commentating and broadcasting, but Phillip got like 10, 11 kids to take care of, so he probably don't got time to do
9 kids, I think.
ridiculous. So, but before we move on to a few other topics, of course, we got to do our segment game balls of the week. So, Dad, I'll let you go first and give your game ball out for the week.
Yes, sir. We got the Bucs defense, man. The Bucs D. They shut Drew Brees down, made him look more pedestrian than he already looked this season. They caused 4 turnovers, some timely turnovers, some great picks, especially I think the one by Devin White and the one by Dean. They just showed up to play, man. Without the defense having this type of performance and causing those turnovers, I think the Saints win this game because the Bucs offense wasn't too great. They did what they had to do, but they weren't a game changer. Mm-hmm. So they showed up. That's why I give them the game ball. They knew there was a target on their back. This is Tom Brady. Everybody wants to knock him out. They don't want to let him come to another cold conference and do the same thing he did in the AFC for 20 years. So, they knew they had to show up. They had a chip on their shoulder, especially from that Sunday night beatdown. Not the first game, not week 1, but that Sunday night beatdown.
Oh yeah,
they had a bad taste in their mouth, and they just had to regroup. And like he just said, Devin White, man, like I said, he was my he would have got my game ball if I didn't give it to
the defense as a whole.
The defense, yeah, like he was everywhere, sideline to sideline. I saw a stat in Pro Football Focus. He didn't miss any snaps this season, which is crazy. He's just the definition of a true middle linebacker. And there's something about those undersized guys. Like I know he's 5'11", so I don't know, man. They're dogs. He's a dog, and their defense has a lot of potential. Even though Dean and Carlton Davis get beat a lot, they're like 23, so they had, they got time. And Winfield too, who made that big play when you were talking about that fumble with Jared Cook. They just made timely plays. Like that play changed the game with Jared Cook because if I recall correctly, the Saints were up 7 or 3. And they were around midfield about to at least put 3 on the board. And that big play on third down changed the game, and they just took off from there. So shout out to the Bucs defense. It was a collective group unit. Secondary, the D-line, Todd Bowles, all that. They all ball. So, shout out to them.
Exactly, yeah. Like White, just like Jeff is saying, White is a baller. And being in division, he terrorizes every single time he plays. The first time we played them, he pretty much changed the game, changed the tide for them because we were up 24-7. Then pretty much his timely plays is what got them back into the game, and eventually, of course, they took the W from us. But like you said, everybody, that defense is just, and I always say they're as a whole, they're dogs. At the secondary, they take a lot of chances, but those chances, pay off a lot of times in the end. Coming up with 3 interceptions, causing a fumble on Jared Cook, Devin White pretty much being everywhere. Can line him up everywhere, honestly. You gotta worry about him whether he's blitzing, you gotta worry about whether he's dropping back in coverage. He's just somebody you always gotta keep your eye on. And like I said, like Jeff is saying, like you just said, White's just a baller in general. But I would give it to the Bucs. Unfortunately, I gotta give my game ball of the week to Chad Henne. Not unfortunately, fortunately for Kansas City. I'm giving my game ball of the week to Chad Henne. Anything is possible. That man probably pulled out the 2 gutsiest plays, and I talked about it with Jeff. Actually, that's probably the 2 gutsiest plays I've ever seen, or you ever see from Chad Henne ever in his career. Because that scramble was for like 15, 16 yards. Yeah, nobody expecting that at all. But he knew what that first down was going to mean for this team, for the organization, and for putting the game away. So to scramble like that and to almost come up with that first down. I honestly thought he had it, but he was marked, about an inch short. This Henne nonsense has to stop. It can stop next week. Especially
if he plays. I already told you, if he plays, there's nothing to talk about.
If he plays, it's a done deal. But he deserves his flowers for this week for sure. Like I said, 2 back-to-back gutsy plays like that, I can't ignore it. He put the game away because I feel like if the Browns would have got the ball back, they would have been some way, somehow they'd have won that game. But, scrambled for about 15, 16 yards. almost come up with the first down. And then for Andy Reid to even trust him to throw the ball, I knew they was going to run a play. Quite honestly, I didn't. When I saw them in shotgun, I was like, "What?" I was like, "They're in shotgun, empty backfield." That was crazy. But I still felt like as the time was going down, I was like, they're still going to run a play. I don't know what play it's going to be, but they're going to run a play. And for him to trust Chad Henne and Tyreek Hill for that little out route to steal the game, like you said earlier, Thad, that's just the Andy. That's just that finesse and swag that Andy Reid carries. Like he trusts his guys. He knew they can get that first down, and there's no need to give the Browns even a hope of chance to give them the ball back. Let's put this game away and let's go into next week and focus on the Bills. So Chad Henne gets my game ball of the week. I'm sorry, Jeff. The nonsense, like I said, we'll stop after today, but I can't ignore those two gutsy plays at all. But after game balls, we typically, do another segment. Gotta talk about our benchums. We'll talk about the guys that we feel like didn't play up to par. And show up for their teams like they should have this week. So that I'll let you go first. This one kind of hurt me before. I understand why you had to put them, but hurt me a little bit. But I'll let you explain why.
For me, it's Lamar. A little disappointed. I already know like people think he got that target off his back by winning his first playoff game, but pressure's still on. You got to win again. And the knock on him, people say it's because he's black, but like they're like, oh, he's not a passer. But that's really the knock on him. My biggest knock on him, he's very limited as a passer. He has a nice arm. He can throw the ball probably 75, 80 yards, has a big arm. But his accuracy and his, mechanics are just a problem. It changes the game. And you see when you refine your mechanics, what it can do for your game. For Josh Allen, his completion percentage skyrocketed. And they have not the same arm talent, but they have similar arm talent in a way, kind of, a little bit. Mm-hmm. But, he just has to work on that stuff. He only had 196 yards total. I think like 32 rushing and 164 passing. And he really cost them the game. The game was close within arm's reach. They're going down about to tie the game. And him locking in on Mark Andrews, it's a little bit of film study by the Bills because they run that same route, that little spot route across the middle with the tight end. But when you stare down your receivers like that and you're late on the throw, it cost you, and that literally changed the game. 101 yards the other way, and the game was over from there. But just a little disappointed. I hope Lamar really gets in the lab this year to just work on his passing game, that athleticism, all that stuff, all the running and stuff will always be there for him. But if he wants to last a long time in this league, 10-plus years, he's going to have to work on those passing mechanics and just get better. I'm rooting for him. I saw Shannon Sharp say something on Undisputed with comparing him to kind of the Greek Freak. It kind of makes sense to me because they both have their limitations, and when they get to the playoffs, the better teams are going to key in on that, and they're not going to let you get away with being limited in certain areas. They're going to force you to beat them from those areas, and they both have failed to,
take advantage.
Adjust. Yeah. So, shout out to Lamar. I hope you bounce back. Good season, getting that monkey off your back, but that was a disappointing performance and a winnable game, a very winnable game.
Yeah, exactly. Like we've been saying, it's pretty much. Like I said, I understand why you put him there, especially after that pick. That pretty much what honestly sealed the game because, they was about to go into the fourth quarter and it hadn't been much offense being produced anyway. And then, of course, he got knocked out of the game. So, their hopes of making a comeback was pretty much dead from there. So, understandable. Like you say, he just has to adjust, improve those mechanics, and then, come into next season better, which I think he has the opportunity to do. He's still young, reigning MVP as of now still. I think he'll take that challenge and he'll fix things for this Ravens squad this upcoming year. But for me, of course, my benchum had to go to Michael Thomas, and this one's fueling all the way from the beginning of the season before they even had before anybody even snapped the ball, because I already had a little bit of beef. You can't be one, you were claiming yourself to be the top receiver. Coming into the year, you can't, get the 99 overall Madden Club first receiver or whatever to hold that rank going into the year, flexing and all this and that, and then have 4 targets for 0, 0, 0, 0 across the board. Like you can't in a playoff game, especially in one as important as this one, possibly Drew Brees' last game. To put you guys in the NFC Championship to face the to face the Packers. You can't get shut out. You're supposed to be the number one target, number one receiver in the game. You feel like you were top 3, not top 1, or not. Basically, you feel like you were top 3 receiver, not 3 or 2. And like I said, you can't get shut out. Like, I could have easily gave it to, Drew Brees. Like, obviously he's a little dependent on his quarterback. But like I said, Drew Brees forced the ball at times, but he tried to make plays for his guys. And, Michael Thomas has to come up, bigger. Everybody picks on him. He's pretty sensitive. Everybody calls him Slant Boy. I call him Slant Boy. I know you call him Slant Boy. I forgot who was guarding him. But number 23. I know you said.
I think Dean or Davis, one of them.
I think it's Davis. Yeah, Dean, I think it's 35. So yeah, it's Davis. He ended up quoting it saying, "Oh, Slant Boy." So it's like, until you prove us, wrong, otherwise you're Slant Boy. You're not a top 5 receiver to me. Honestly, I'm sorry. Like I can name 5 guys to put in front of you, especially after this year. I know he was riddled with injuries, in and out of the lineup. That takes a toll a little bit. I know he's about to have surgeries, but still, playoff game like that, you can't not have one catch at least. Like, especially against that young of a secondary. Like I said, I know they're tough. I know they take chances, but to proclaim yourself, top receiver, had that 99 overall going into the year, doing all this flexing and talking and stuff, you just can't go 0 for 0 for 0 for 0 with 4 targets. Like, that's.
Yeah, man. I got to add something really quick. Like you said, when you were talking about the not top 5 thing, when people were saying that last year, like going into this season in the spring before the pandemic started, I just don't see enough. Like, okay, he has 100-something catches. I don't know how many catches he had. I think he had 100 in back-to-back seasons. But when you're catching slants, is it really that hard? Like, when you're consistently going downfield and stretching the field vertically and people still can't stop you, and when you have the whole combo, like, he can run routes, but he's very limited. He's a possession receiver with no rack.
Exactly.
So, yeah, but I just never viewed him as a top 5
Top
receiver.
5, exactly. Like I said, he had all the numbers. Like I said, it's predicated, like I just said as well, like on Drew Brees, like getting him the ball in the spots that, they both are comfortable in and knowing what he can do. And most of that is coming from slants. Or if anything, a dig, like slants and digs. That's really all he really does. And you say he's not really a receiver that's going to stretch the field. Doesn't have too much routes in his route tree. So, like I said, that's my benching for the week. You can't do that, bro. Like, you can't have no catches. Like, that's just like, what top 5 receiver have you heard of having no catches
in a playoff game?
All the game in a playoff game. So just can't happen, bro. Got to bench him for this week. But next segment we're going to talk about mainly for us. We didn't really have, both our teams didn't really have any chances at the playoffs this year, but we have a lot of turnover going on in our organization. So for both of us, we'll talk real quick about, our organizations. I'm a Falcon fan. Dad's a Jaguars fan, of course. So for us Falcons fans, we got 2 new guys coming in to head our team. A lot of turnover going on, and hopefully some positive will come out of, these 2 hires. Arthur Smith as our head coach, and then, Terry Fontenot coming from our rivals, the Saints, as our GM. I won't get into too much about them. We'll probably do a different show later on to kind of get into them. But overall, I was a little bit surprised about the hiring of Arthur Smith, but I've been hearing and seeing a lot of positive things. One thing is that they both kind of sought each other out when being interviewed for the job. They both kind of brought up each other's names. So that's a good thing. It looks like they're going to be able to work together and, like each other and want to work together. Arthur Smith wise, offensively, I kind of like the things he said. So he's been saying so far, with, his first day on the job being yesterday. They had a, press conference and everything. He said he's calling the shots. So he's calling the offensive plays. But he said he's coaching the whole team. I know he has some experience on the defensive side, so he's going to be pretty heavily involved on both sides of the ball. And like I said, he said he's calling the shots on the offensive side, so that's going to be pretty good. Within the last few seasons with the Titans, he's ranked 3rd in the league in total yards per game at just under 400. Number 2 in rushing yards. Of course, a lot of that got to give the crown to Derrick Henry, King Henry. And then also, I think 4th in the league and putting up points just shy under 31 at 30.7. So, they have had an explosive offense within the last few years. He has helped Tannehill and Henry's career is out tremendously. It will be interesting to see what he does with the weapons that we have on our side of the ball. One thing I do know is, he offensively he likes a lot of pre-snap movement, and he likes, of course, to pound the ball and open it up with play action. So for us, we need a running back to make any of those things happen. I know we got the receivers for it. I think they're both on board, Terry and Arthur, with keeping Matt for another year. It would be interesting to see what they do in the draft, because Terry said he's a best available player guy. So if Justin Fields sitting there and they value him as the best available player, he might be behind Matt for 1 year. But yeah, I think they're on board with Matt, in the offense for 1 more year, because they feel like if they cut him or trade him, whatever, that's dead money. I think it's like 15 million versus like next year be like 9 million or something like that. I don't know. I forgot the numbers, but basically I know they're all, probably all in with keeping him for a year. They may take a quarterback to back him up for 1 year, but for what it looks like offensively, he's a guy that's going to continue to have our offense pumping out those numbers. Defensively, he said he's going to be on that side of the ball. Supposedly bringing Dean Pease, who I know was a pretty decorated, defensive coordinator with coached a little bit with them with the Titans. He also was with the Patriots for a few of their Super Bowl runs, and then I forgot one other team.
Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore. So yeah, he's and I think he was there when they won their Super Bowl as well, wasn't he?
In 12, I think it was 2012.
Yeah, so he's a big name, known name. So he definitely should help us out on that side of the ball, which we need most to all of our help at. So
I'd like to add something
about
your hire. I know this is not my team. I could care less about the Falcons, but I think this is a good. I don't know. It's a surprising hire. Everybody needs their first shot, but the team's kind of like the situation he's going from in Tennessee is somewhat similar to Atlanta, and they kind of run the same thing, a little pro style offense with play action. They have the two. I'm not saying Davis and AJ Brown or Julio and Ridley, but similar, young, promising receivers. And they ran the same thing. You just need, like you said, y'all need a running back to run the style of offense he wants to run. I don't know if y'all trying to see somebody Ito. I know y'all know Gurley's not it. The knees have just messed them up, but y'all need a back.
Yeah,
I need a back. But I like the hire. I don't know too much about him. But it's similar. It won't be the hardest. I think it'll be a smooth transition offensively. But we got to see what they do defensively, because your boy Raheem Morris, he's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. Went to the Rams. But pretty much like you just said, the one encouraging thing was that every single team that had an opening for head coaching spot, they interviewed him and went to talk to him immediately. So that's like I said, encouraging news. I think Mark Ingram's been connected to us, possibly. That'd be interesting. I feel like they may go back somewhere in one of our first 3 picks. Definitely not the first one. Hopefully not the first one. And maybe probably not the second one either. But we'll probably go back somewhere in the draft. I think they want to kind of experiment with Olsen as well. He'll be in his 3rd year this upcoming year. Hasn't really played much for us, but he's a big, powerful back as well. Can run the ball. They say he has similar traits to Henry, which is high praise, but I guess overall we'll see. But like I said, really, I guess glad to at least, if not the guys I was expecting, we the whole year we was just preaching change. We want change. We want a new start. We want some guys that will come in and hold everybody accountable. And these 2 guys seem like they're the guys to do so. So if all else, at least we the fans got what they're asking for. But the more shocking and surprising news, honestly, for both of us. We heard rumblings of it before, and I brought it up on another show that we did, of course. But they did it, and I wasn't expecting it, but they pulled the trigger. Urban Meyer to Jacksonville. So what you think about that one, Thad?
As you stated, we talked about this in a previous episode. I was surprised. I kind of brushed it off. I wasn't the biggest fan of it for reasons I'm about to state, but I just didn't think it would happen. Like, is he just playing around, But hey, it happened. I've changed my perspective and my feelings about it a little bit. I feel like I like the hire. My biggest thing was his commitment. At Florida, I don't want to say the man's lying about his health problems, but think he left Florida, took a year off, said something about his health, and then was back coaching.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's a little bit of BS or not, but I just hope he's committed, man. He stayed at programs for a little bit. Every program he's been at, don't get me wrong, Bowling Green, Utah, Florida, and then Ohio State. He's uplifted the programs like immediately.
Yeah.
But we just want him to I want him to stick around. I like the hire, man. He's a winner. New culture. He's bringing expectations. I just want him to be able to stick around. He's walking into a great situation. Like him and Lawrence here, that's his guy. That's going to be his guy. Like they're coming in together. They're going to be linked together forever, pretty much. That GM too. So, and he has 11. I think we have 11 picks this year. So he can basically build a team how he wants. We have $100 million in cap space with some young, promising players we can build around. So, just a great. I think it's the best hire we could have got. I don't know who else we were going to think about getting. I don't know. I feel like we were going to do something dumb if we didn't take him or be enemy, like somebody crazy. I don't think the Rams DC should have got a head coaching job that quick. But yeah, man, I feel good about it. I'm excited. As I said, I've never been more excited for an offseason, like just to see who we get in free agency this year. Because with the cap changing and stuff and COVID hard times, people want that money, and we're gonna have the money to spend. So hopefully we attract people. I know Duval doesn't have the most to offer, but we have a decorated college coach, one of the top 5, in my opinion, college coaches of all time. Trevor Lawrence and some weapons. So hey, as long as he sticks around, man, just stay bought in. The city's gonna support him. I know we're looking for. We just want to win, really. We're trying to feel how we did in 2017 because that was a great year. But I'm excited about the hire. I think our interim GM Tab. I don't know how to say his last name. Bulky, something like that. I think that's who our GM's gonna be. So I'm interested to see what he does. But don't fumble the bag, man. This is the perfect situation. We're about to have our franchise quarterback. We have 11 picks, so we have money to spend. So just don't mess it up. This new GM, don't rub any of the good players wrong. Don't run a Jalen Ramsey out of there. Don't not re-sign Yannick Ngakoue. Something like that. Don't piss your good players off. Make them happy so they can stick around. So we can bring some ships. So but overall, I've changed. But I'm happy about the hire.
Yeah, I think it was a solid hire as well. Like you said, been saying before, so much promise. You guys got money. You guys got cap space. Money, cap space. You got draft capital. You got, more than likely getting Lawrence. You got nice young weapons. We saw it this year in James Robinson. Y'all got receivers. Defensively, y'all,
you got some
as well. Yeah, you got some pieces as well. So it's like it's promise there. And like you said, if he sticks around, he can build up this organization pretty much how he wants. They can both, pretty much shape and form it however they want. So it's going to be interesting to see. Hopefully you guys can get back. I know probably won't be immediately, but get back to that 2017 team. It was really fun to watch and see. But NFL, I guess, is different each and every year. Pretty much since then, y'all gotten rid of everyone, like literally everyone. So it's a sad time, but it could be, like I say, it can all be turned around and fixed with this man right here on the screen. So hopefully, more promises coming to, like you said, Duval, and be interesting to see the magic that they can all make happen. So. All right, we're gonna actually move on. Introduce. We're gonna wrap up the show soon, but we're gonna introduce a new segment that we're gonna start doing. Just talking about all the sports news. I know right now we've been doing a lot of football heavy content, but of course that's coming to an end. We'll start, of course, including NBA, WNBA, pretty much all sports in general. But we'll be bringing out the best, or not best news, but the most talked about news of the week. And the new segment is called Something or Nothin. So pretty much we're going to be talking about the news that's been going on in the sports world, and we're going to rate it or say whether we think it's something or if it's nothing. So the first thing, we didn't get to talk about it last week, but Deshaun Watson, he's at rumblings. More than likely he's played his last game in Texas. Said he was at a 2 when they traded Hopkins away. Now he's at a 10 with what's going on. They haven't been talking to him about any of the new hires. He's just really, really upset with what's going on in Houston. So I think we're both going to go the same way. But Dad, do you think this is something or nothing?
I think this is something. I'd be pissed if I was Deshaun. I'm your franchise guy. Right now, I'm already your third best player of all time in the franchise behind JJ and Andre Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I don't get it. That you hire, they help you out for your GM search by spending six figures on a little search firm, and then
Mm-hmm.
you get Louis Riddick and another guy, and you completely just block them out and go your own direction. Your quarterback asks you not even for all the sake, because that's not his job. He's not the owner. He just asked for a little sake because he's, that's their number. They're building around him, the number one guy, and they just completely tune him out. They trade away his number one receiver for a second round pick and a running back that hasn't been good since 2016. So, man, I'd just be upset that he gave him another chance to get it right, to make up for what they did with the D-Hop thing, even though that was more of a Bill O'Brien thing. But they showed their ass again, and he said he's fed up. He doesn't want to. As Andre Johnson said, they're known for wasting people's careers, and he doesn't want to be a part of that. They already wasted this season, and time's ticking. And, I think he hears a little bit of that. I don't think it matters that much, but him being compared to Mahomes and stuff, and like he's trying to win. He's not just trying to be known as a stat guy and the guy that was second to Mahomes, stuff like that. So, hey, man, this is something. Hopefully he gets out. I think the only way he gets out, though, is by forcing his hand, because the Texans know what they have, and they basically be starting over if they trade him again. So.
Exactly. Yeah.
Unless a team comes with a crazy offer like quarterback, a top 10 pick, and another pick this year or another one next year, I don't see him getting moved. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's something as well. Like we said before, Andre Johnson already, what he said in his tweet, and then D-Hop backing him up. He said you got outside of him and JJ, the two most prominent known Houston Texans that we know in football. Maybe
I forgot about D-Hop. I think D-Hop's in front of him though.
Yeah, so definitely, yeah, he probably in front of him. But just the big names that come from this organization, pretty much, backing up Andre and saying like, yeah, like you need to get out as soon as possible and all that, because the way this organization is being ran is obviously not up to par with some of these other organizations, and they just don't treat their star players like star players. So. And with Deshaun Watson, we kind of know him. We've seen him, kind of grow up here in Georgia and everything. And even at Clemson, like he's a humble, quiet guy. He's going to come in and do his job. He's going to do the work. And if you got someone like him being upset,
you did something.
You definitely did something. So this is something for sure. It's not short of nothing. It's definitely something. And I don't know. I think he might get traded. There's a lot of suitors. There's a lot of teams out there that got money and draft capital to get something like this done. Not a lot, but there's a few that can. I know the Jets have been one that's been in talks. I don't know how really, but I can't count out Bill Belichick. I saw something about the Patriots possibly, and then it was one more other team I can't even think of right now. But like I said, there's some teams that got some first this year, first next year. A quarterback they kind of trying to get rid of. Oh, the Rams, that was the other team. So. It's stuff that can happen, and if it's true that he's played his last game as a Texan, I think it's definitely something, and he'll be on his way somewhere else. Next, we're crossing over to the NBA. Like I said, definitely going to be getting some more news about the NBA coming up soon now that football is dwindling down. But again, another one I think we're both going to go the same way, but Harden finally makes his way to Brooklyn. They now have a big two right now until Kyrie comes back into the fold, which I think he's supposed to do tonight. So is this something or nothing? After the first two games that we've seen Durant and Harden play together, both I think north of 30 points each, just killing it. So is this something or nothing? Do you think they're now the title favorites? I guess that's the something or nothing question.
No, I would say not title favorites. I still think the Lake Show will pull it out, maybe because I'm a LeBron fan. I don't know. But they look good, man. They did lose a decent amount of depth. They lost LeVert, they lost Jared Allen and Taurean Prince.
Yeah.
So those are three players that will not be on the court playing for them that contributed a decent amount. I think Prince started, if I'm not mistaken. But they look good though, man. Since in those two games, Harden's averaging 33, 13, and 9. So he kind of picked off right where he left off from previous years. It will be interesting to see what happens when Kyrie comes back, because he's ball dominant. So KD doesn't really need the ball, but Harden and Kyrie need the ball. So it's just interesting to see. But so far, so good. I do think they're coming out the East now for sure. But I'm interested to see how like what their bench is looking like. Because the only person I know coming off their bench right now is Landry Shamet. I know I don't watch him that much, but does Joe Harris go to the bench?
No, I think Joe starts right now. It's gonna
No,
be.
no, he does. I'm saying when Kyrie comes
Oh
back,
yeah, I don't know.
Jeff
Honestly, they might
Green.
go a little small. They might go small. I can see a Kyrie, James, Joe, Durant, and DeAndre type of lineup.
Oh, I thought you were about to say Jeff Green because I was about to say like you need some type of scoring off the bench, which is why I say maybe bring Joe Harris as your sixth man and then Shamet so you can have some scoring.
Yeah.
But hey, when those three are in, you're gonna get as much scoring as you can get, so it don't really matter.
Yeah.
I don't. I think it's something. I think they're gonna make some noise this year. I don't think they're gonna win this year, but they will win in the next 2 years.
Yeah. I think I guess just to be different, I feel like I mean obviously it's something like he was able to get his way to Brooklyn. He looks so much happier now. Look at him smiling at KD after he hit a game winner or a game go ahead or whatever. But I'm gonna say it's something that now is three guys on that team. That's they create another super team, another big team. It's gonna be interesting to see how Harden and Kyrie are able to coexist. Both being ball dominant guys. But I'm gonna say it's nothing to the question I posed to you that title favorites or whatever. I think there's still some teams that can challenge them to come out of the East. Obviously Milwaukee, they just had a really good game against them.
Game. Really
Chris Middleton is he's coming along quite well. I know he does it a lot in the regular season, but if we keep this up in the playoffs, that's a team to look out for. It might be their year. It could possibly, if he takes that next leap, because I think that Drew Holiday addition, obviously, it will help him out. So I think it might. The reason I'm saying it's going to be nothing to them, like possibly not even coming out of the East, is because, like you just said, the depth part. Torian, Jared out, like they're weak at center now. They really have no big to really come in and back up DeAndre, and DeAndre is really getting older and not that big of a defensive presence as he once was. And like you said, the scoring, they already lost to Dinwiddie for the year. Karis LeVert's in Indy now. Torian Prince could give you timely buckets. He's in Cleveland with Jared Allen, so it's gonna be hard like allocating them points from the bench. Like now they got kind of like a bunch of no names, besides Jeff Green and Shamet. I know they got one guard that more so known for defense, but I guess can put up some buckets. I've got his last name. It's kind of like
Landry Shamet.
No, it's another guy. Like I said, I can't even remember. It's like a 2-part last name, and it's pretty long. Like I said, I think it's like either like Italian or German or something like that. I forgot what it was. But other than that, like I said, it's gonna be hard to figure out where them buckets are gonna come from the bench. But like you just said, with them three guys in, you're gonna get all the scoring that you need. But at some point, it's one ball, three guys that can put up 30, 40 at any time. Who's gonna take that back seat and be okay with it? So all right, and then second to last one actually. This something or nothing. Patrick Mahomes, obviously, concussion and concussion protocol before we came on. He was said to have practiced in a limited fashion, but he's still protocol. So is this something or nothing for Wednesday to still be in concussion protocol?
I think it's something, but he's still gonna play. You don't like to see that. I mean, I think they're just taking a safe route because the way, just like me, everybody else was worried when they saw him get up and he couldn't even hold himself up, like he was stupid drunk. But
yeah,
I don't know, man. I don't know. The play was weird. He got tackled around the neck. I saw the ball, him fall on the ball. Maybe he lost his breath for a little bit. I don't know, got dizzy, something. But I don't think it's too big of a deal. I think he's gonna play, but I'm a tad bit worried. But because of how big the game is, if this was a regular game, they wouldn't rush him back. I don't even think they should rush him back, period. But I think he's gonna play. I really do. I know they're just doing all the right protocols, being smart. That's their franchise quarterback. And the brain is a very fragile thing, but I think there's no way he doesn't play. But we'll see. We'll know by Friday.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go. Obviously it's a little bit of something. But it's still, I guess I'm gonna go nothing just because, like you said, it's Wednesday, it's the middle of the week. They play, I think, Sunday. So of course he still has a few more days to, get healthy, go through the right steps in order to get cleared to play in the game. But it is a big game, really, really big game. And of course you don't want to put someone's health on the line, in hopes of, rushing them back in order to win the playoff game to go to your second straight Super Bowl. But, again, it is your second straight Super Bowl. It's your franchise quarterback. It's a very important game against a hot Bills squad. So I think they're going to do everything necessary in order to get him back in order to play in time. But like you said, it was concerning to see him get up and wobble and his eyes were super wide. But pretty much after that, when he was running back to the locker room and everything, I know it's a concussion and you don't fully always see it. He looked okay, looked like he would be okay, and looked like he, like I said, should be able to be prepared and ready and pass all this tests and everything before Sunday to play the game. So I'm gonna go with nothing for right now because it's Wednesday, but it could be something if he hasn't made any progress by Friday, like you said. And then lastly, we're gonna hit on another part that happened in the game. Of course, Rashard Higgins looked like it was gonna be a touchdown, got hit, fumbled the ball, ended up being a touchback. I know there's a lot of rumblings about this on social media from Browns fans and just NFL watchers overall. They said they need to change this type of this rule, basically this touchback rule. So is this something or nothing, Thad? Do you think this type of play will have the NFL committee, rules committee, whatever, kind of look at it and change the touchback rule, or do you think they do nothing about it?
Nothing. For me, it's nothing. I got to elaborate a little bit. In football, there's always in every game, sport you play, there's risks you take. In football, this is one of the risks. I know in New England, they work on, they don't even, if you watch the Patriots for years, Belichick has taught his players, instilled in them to not reach the ball out. It's a risk you can take. It's a 50-50 risk. You can either get a touchdown or you could possibly have a defender put the helmet right on the ball, pops out in an awkward way going inside the goalpost, and then the other team gets the ball back at the 20. But I think it's nothing. It's a risk of the game. It's part of the game. If you don't want it to happen, don't stick the ball out. Just get in cleanly,
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's nothing. This has been going on for too long. They've already made enough changes to the game and stuff. I like this. This is a game changer for the defense. It's a way to help the defense out.
Yeah. I think it's I'm agree with you as well. I think it's nothing. This is my third nothing in a row, but I think it's nothing because I saw a few people kind of, complaining about it. I'm just like, when I saw somebody was like, so you reward they basically said put it down at the 1 because that's what it would have been if you didn't fumble. I was like, so someone was like, so you're going to reward the offensive team for fumbling and, just basically giving the ball back at the 1. Like, you can't do that. In certain aspects, I can see how the rule could look extreme, giving the ball, basically having it be a turnover, giving the ball to, the opposing, team and on the 20. But it's like kind of like, what do you do? I saw, a few people say maybe they give them the ball back, but they get it at like the 20 or 25, something like that, like a touchback type of rule, something like that. Instead of, turning the ball over and then giving it to the opposing offensive teams, giving them the ball. But like I said, I think it's nothing. I don't think, like you just said, I don't think the NFL is going to really look at it too deeply and change it. It's just another week. This upcoming week, everyone's probably going to, besides Browns fans, probably done forgot about it, honestly. So I think it's probably nothing. They're not going to change it. And a lot of people were saying they should at least be able to review, I guess, the helmet to helmet. I know in this picture it doesn't look like they had helmet to helmet contact, but
he did.
Yeah, he did. But I think, I don't know, it's so weird. That's what's also weird to that rule because it's like he lowered his shoulder and I think he was trying to force the contact with his shoulder, but he did lower his head in the act of lowering his shoulder, which made it helmet to helmet contact. So I don't know. Like I said, I guess that should be reviewed. I can see how they can, how they're rallying for that to be reviewable, a helmet to helmet hit, especially if they're trying to push towards the game being safer and, eliminate these type of hits from the game. So that, I guess, could be something they should be able to review, maybe those helmet to helmet hits. But this fumble and touchback rule, that's nothing. I think it should pretty much stay the way it is, honestly, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, I agree.
And then lastly, to finish off the show, another little segment that we're going to start doing. We love to give shout outs, especially to people doing great things in sports. So we're going to introduce our new segment. I want to give a shout out. So I'm going to go first. I put my pictures up first. I want to give a shout out. It's real woman focused. I just realized, but I want to give a shout out, of course, to Asia Wilson. She got her statue in front of the University of South Carolina for her decorated career there. Just won the MVP this past year in WNBA, in the bubble and everything that they did over there. So shout out to her. Also shout out to Sarah Thomas, going to be the first NFL woman referee to ref the Super Bowl. And then, of course, Sarah Fuller as well. She was part of the inauguration today, which shout out to Joe Biden, new president, new 4 years. Hopefully some change is coming for this country. So she was part of the inauguration, celebrating just, I guess, new faces, new change in America, embodying what America is about. So shout out to these three women in sports for sure. So, and then I know Thad, you also want to shout out, got the
Yeah.
AFC Championship Bills.
For me, in the coming weeks, I'll have a different shout out, but this was very quick, late notice. So I just went off the top of my head. But shout out to the Bills. In the last 25 years, they had only had 3 playoff appearances,
Mhm.
with one coming in 2017 against us, and then last year against the Texans, and then this year. But just shout out to them. This is their first time getting a playoff win in 25 years, and they backed it up with 2 playoff wins back to back. Just a long time coming. It's pretty hard to wait around that long for your team just to make the playoffs. Not even winning the Super Bowl. Like the Jaguars never won one, but us going 10 years from in between making the playoffs was tough. So imagine 25. But shout out to them for balling. Great season. Their coach will probably get coach of the year. They made one of the trades of the year with Stephon Diggs. That just changed the game for Josh Allen. So shout out to them. Their season. It's going to end this week, but great season. You'll have a lot to look forward to. Y'all be in the playoffs for many years to come, and we'll be Super Bowl contenders for years to come.
Dang, already hot take. This season going to end this year or this week.
Yeah, it's over.
I can see that for sure. Especially like I said, if their offense is as stagnant and pedestrian as it was against that Ravens defense. Even though that Ravens defense, I think, has been like top 5 all year, honestly. But like you just said, shout out to them. Has had a great year. Josh Allen has had an amazing type year. If it wasn't other quarterbacks that was, excelling as much as they was, and Patrick and A-Rod in Green Bay, he might have been considered for the MVP.
100%.
Diggs had all wide receiver type year. Along with some other guys. So they had a great year. Like you said, might come to an end this upcoming year. But it's just cool, I guess, for them to see them back in prominence, their name to be back in the media, for them to have a winning squad. Ever since, them losing on Super Bowls back to back, I think 4 in a row. So
that's crazy. That's I wouldn't even want to go if that's going to happen 4 times in a row.
Exactly. So like you said, maybe this is a blessing in disguise that they season might end this week. So, because they get to the championship, they got to face Brady again, who they've been terrorized all their life being in that AFC East division. So, or possibly have to face Brady again. Not saying that's who's going to come out on top. I feel like the NFL has a funny way of doing things. Wink, wink. But possibly have to face Brady in that Super Bowl and then maybe lose. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise. But good job. Shout out to these guys for having an amazing year, putting together an amazing season, and being in the position they are now to have one more win into the Super Bowl. So but that wraps up the show today. Another loaded episode, and a lot to talk about. Definitely, of course, appreciate you again, Thad, coming on. Like I said, we'll probably be coming at you, of course, with some more I guess more predictions. We'll have another show probably before the games this upcoming weekend. And like I said, it does it for another episode of What the Game Means to Me. Of course, you know where to follow us at Facebook. You can rewatch this and more at What the Game Means to Me. Twitter at WTG MTM Podcast, and then also on Instagram at What the Game Means to Me as well. Thanks to Off the Ball Network, those guys, for chiming in. Thanks, Jeff, for commenting and telling me to stop with my Chad Henne nonsense. And yeah, man, that does it for the day. Any last words before we head out?
Nothing much. Another good episode. We're gonna keep coming with more content, and y'all just keep tuning in. We appreciate you. We appreciate everybody, all our subscribers, all our followers, and everybody that supports us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And like I said, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Have a good one, everyone.